Welcome to Real Estate Radio Live, an informative and engaging hour discussing everything you need to know about the world of real estate. Your hosts, Bobbi Decker and Buddy Saupé of Sotheby's International Realty, provide education and insights important to buyers and sellers locally, nationally, and globally. Selling your home to a foreign buyer or a new recent transplant to your area? Contemplating a second home or a vacation property somewhere else? Looking to find a solid investor market area? Then this show is for you. And now, to guide you around the world of real estate, here's your hosts, Bobbi Decker and Buddy Saupé.
And welcome on this drizzly, rainy, grayish Friday afternoon. We're happy to be here. We're kind of happy to be anywhere, aren't we, buddy?
On a beautiful, beautiful sun trying to peek through afternoon. Cumulus clouds out there that we don't get to see very often. It's all good for me.
Well, it's just starting to break up. It was fun driving over and started to feel like fall.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well,
the autumn leaves. All right, never mind.
For joining us this afternoon at RE Radio Live. As you know, we've got blogs, we've got podcasts, and once again, we're taking information that we've presented on our blog at www.bobbidecker.com. Just do go there. There's so much rich information, and you know why? Not because of Buddy and I, because of our fabulous guests, right?
Our fabulous guests and the content that we have to do some serious research on. So sometimes we have more content on the blog than we can actually get in on a radio show.
Well, that's because we all talk too much.
We have too much fun?
We have too much to say. We really do. Joe is not with us today. He had yet another one of his appointments. But, you know, when the three of us get going, there's just so much rich information about real estate on every level.
Yes, and the time zips by.
It does. It does. And the blog is just another way in order to get like a web-based newsletter to you guys. And only in small segments, and every weekday we do it. The podcast is our audio, or it can be video, which we're tossing around. That may very well show up within the next 3 to 6 months. And that's presented on the web. So more and more people are kind of going and grabbing their information from these formats.
Yeah, the web is here and expanding every day.
Well, it is. And if you go to www.bobbidecker.com, the blog is up on the top left and the podcast is up at the top right. We keep them nice and separated. And as you know, if you've been listening over the past week, Real Estate Radio Live is transitioning to a web-only format. So we want to make certain if you like the content we've brought you over the years, that you do stay with us.
Yes, please do. We're going to have more and more information, the possibility of even more shows than 5 a week with Joe and Bobbi and I may be a possibility with the new format.
Well, all the programs are going to be on reradiolive.com website, and, of course, all of ours are on our bobbidecker.com. And we just hope you continue to enjoy the information and in many, many cases, that valuable information that we will continue to provide and that we have provided. Because I just am amazed at some of our guests and how when I get texts and I get phone calls back, mostly voicemails, because they're all rolling to voicemail. But, Buddy, they say, gosh, you know, they were so helpful. They kept me from making a huge mistake. I'm so glad that I didn't succumb to the person on the telephone and give them all of my information, like your Social Security number and all. Because, you know, our senior focus program, that's what we're trying to do, prevent that fraud and being taken.
And I hate to say we are leaving, but the fact of the matter is we created a few radio firsts. Do you all remember the gentleman we were interviewing when he was stopped by the police in Colorado on the highway?
If you want to tune into that, that's on our podcast.
It's on the archive somewhere. Can you imagine, officer, pardon me, I'm a guest on a radio show. No, young man, you were speeding.
And we were also jealous because he could be speeding on a Friday afternoon when we're all in gridlock. Speaking of gridlock, we've been gridlocked all day Have you noticed that, Bud?
Well, with the bridges two bridges out at the same time, that makes a big difference.
Well, you know what they say? We're going into Halloween weekend.
Uh-oh.
So all the spooks and goblins are out.
Okay.
There's our Jeremy.
He's got some... There's that goblin. So let me tell you something else, though. The radio show may be disappearing from the radio, but it's certainly going to be there as a podcast. But there's something more if you go to www.bobbidecker.com. She mentioned the blog, and we're going to talk about some of the blog posts today just to give you some insight on what they are. But the beauty of it is on Mondays we have kind of a schedule. We do Mondays, we do a market update. That market update may cover local, national, or international news. Tuesday has been a rerun sort of the radio show with any of the content that we couldn't get in the radio show. We'll have to see what that's going to be under the new format. Wednesdays we had reserved for very special content. Often that had some video content that went with it on a specific subject matter that we were working on. Thursday is our Senior Spotlight, and we're going to talk a little bit later. Bobbi received a very important award around that Senior Spotlight and what we've done for Living Longer, Living Better on both the radio and television. And Fridays, of course, was announcing what our programming is going to be. So it'll be a little bit of a change, but there's going to be a bonus, if you will. If you can tune into us on the website, you're going to find that there's more and more information that you can use. So our Living Longer, Living Better, and our other 3 Friday programs were focused, as I mentioned, on local, national, and global real estate issues. So the combination of our blog and our podcast provides the types of information that will keep you well informed as a homeowner, a buyer, a seller, or an investor. And our Living Longer is really focused on our senior community and all the important aspects that are associated with that, not just for the seniors, but for caregivers, family members. Governments are going to have to start paying more attention. We're going to get into that in some depth here in just a few minutes. The impact of aging is really touching places all around the world, not the least of which is right here.
Well, with our 10,000 boomers aging to 65
every day.
Amazing. 10,000. Just amazing. And, you know, they are going to age in a way that no one's ever aged before. Boomers have done it different from the minute they were on this little planet, and they're going to continue to do so.
Yeah, we've done enough shows to talk about how active they are. Mm-hmm. Many are not really fully retiring. They're moving into another area of interest and opportunity as they age because the good news is we seem to be healthier in our aging process than many generations before us. So I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be a senior. I'm happy to be still very vital and starting new things all the time.
And I think that as you stay active, as you stay vital, as you stay interested in what's going on around you, and it's not to say that the boomers haven't had a little bit of a rough time because they were the first sandwiched generation. You know, they have their aging parents who have lived longer. Then they've got the kids that have had a hard time finding jobs when they get out of college. And they're sandwiched between what do we do now? I mean, who do we take care of? Where does the time come from? How do we do it so that everybody's happy? And that's impossible. If there's anything that you need to know, it's impossible to make everybody happy. So don't bother. Just try to make good decisions. And that's what we hope to do with the program, is help you make those good decisions.
Well, that was all the focus. A lot of that came out in the Senior Spotlight activity because dealing with aging parents can be a very complex program to deal with. And what you have to do and what you should do and what you could do, there's a whole long litany of options and opportunities and, unfortunately, some problems and issues that come along with that.
Yes, but what I love is that businesses now are getting involved with our communities. Businesses are getting involved with what we want to have is vibrant communities, and they're saying the government doesn't do anything right. They waste money. They do this, they do that, they do the other thing, and that the end result is no result. So I love the fact that big businesses, such as we mentioned last week with Joe, the Facebooks, the Googles, Benioff, they're just all getting involved in how do we make our communities better. And that kind of involvement is going to start to restructure and to bring back the vibrancy that used to be there. People are so frustrated with the red tape, they give up.
Yeah, well, let's hope we can get rid of some of the red tape in the next phase of whatever our new world's going to look like.
Well, sure. I mean, Apple's got enough money to do pretty much whatever they would like to do to be very active socially. And most of them do because they haven't squandered it and paid for ridiculous things. So I love the fact that we're going to be able to go to these social activist types and get things done, especially for the seniors, Bud, because here you've got your aging. Well, listen to this one quote. At a time when the global population of people ages 65 and older is expected to triple to 1.5 billion by mid-century, public opinion on whether the growing number of older people is a problem seems to vary dramatically around the world. And that's from the PEW Research survey. So, what did they find out? When asked, is aging a problem in your country? Here are some of the excerpts. We are 19th, we, meaning the U.S., in the countries that express this as a concern. Only 26% thought it is a problem, when in Japan, 87% say it's a problem, and in China, South Korea, and Spain, 50% saw it as a problem. So part of me knows that the issue of aging may not be getting all the attention it deserves in the United States, but with these 10,000 boomers, it's going to get what it can because they are a noisy group.
They are a noisy group.
They're
you
not
mentioned
shy.
They're different. They're not shy. They're going to stand up for what they need and what they want. And they're, I think, a pretty effective voting bloc these days, too. You have to pay serious attention to them if you're a political wonk. But let's kind of take a look at some of the data. This was taken from the 2010, our census, but they tried to focus on it from all around the world. And it kind of paints the picture of what's really going to go on. This information is from yesterday's blog on our Senior Spotlight, so please go take a look at www.bobbydecker.com, and you can really see the report. You can read the whole Pew Research report, and you'll see that we use 3 other reports in addition to that to get all this information. We'll get into the detail here in just a minute or so.
Okay, that'll be great. We've got to break to commercial, but then we'll come on back. And I just, the fact that we are always leading edge, and you can't put us down. Entrepreneurial, we are.
Innovation,
as a country.
entrepreneurial.
Yep,
You
absolutely.
got it.
So come on back, and we'll give you some more news from the Pew Report. Thank you very much for joining us here at RE Radio Live, 1-800-516-1220. You want to be one of our last callers in. Thanks.
For more information on today's program, visit reradiolive.com. That's reradiolive.com.
Are you and your lifestyle fulfilled by the properties that you own? Do you need to rethink or look at different options, perhaps even in different places on the globe? Either locally or globally, you need competencies and commitments to achieve your goals most effectively. Bobbi Decker, working with her teammates in Sotheby's International Realty, with over 750 offices in 52 countries and territories, can help. Even here in the San Francisco Bay Area, if a property isn't what she or her team believes they can effectively market, they will find a high-quality Sotheby's agent that has the right expertise. For more information or assistance, contact Bobbi at 650-346-5352. Visit her website at www.bobbydecker.com or email bobby.decker@sotheby'srealty.com. That's bobby.decker@sotheby'srealty.com.
Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit reradiolive.com. That's reradiolive.com. Again, your host for today's edition of Real Estate Radio Live, Bobbi Decker and Buddy Saupé.
And welcome back. Welcome back. We're covering a potpourri of just items and thoughts and everything that we've been doing over the last couple of years with Joe on the radio.
Yeah, we're trying to make the point that please do join us on our blog at www.bobbidecker.com, because it will actually be bonus information. As we've described, different content appears at different days during the week. Right now, we're really sort of focused on our Living Longer, Living Better series that goes on every Thursday on the blog, and this was information that was on yesterday's blog. Mm-hmm. Bobbi kind of gave you the insight about what the U.S. was thinking about from the standpoint of that interesting question about how important or how big a problem is this?
Well, especially with us thinking 26% is a problem, or 26% of us, rather, thinking it's a problem.
Yeah.
Right, our only worry.
Wait till you hear
but
some of these
87% in Japan think it's a problem. That's dramatic.
Yeah, so what we can do is kind of give you some numbers that give you the actual situation. What percentage of the populations in these countries are actually 65 or older? From a worldwide standpoint, only 7.7% of the world was over 65. By mid-century, however, this is projected to nearly double, and in some cases more than double. Japan, Italy, Germany are all over 20% of the population are 65 or older. In the high teens is Spain, France, and Britain. Mm-hmm. In the lower teens is South Korea. They were at the top at 17%. As Bobbi mentioned, the U.S. and Russia, we're kind of tied with the real population number at 13%, and Israel and Argentina in the 10% range. So most of these, as we mentioned, are apt to double by 2050. That's going to be a big percentage of the population that's 65 or older.
Absolutely.
What are we going to do? Okay?
Absolutely.
So don't wait until it becomes overwhelming. Some cities, I know San Mateo, for instance, that put a whole study group together because they had done their analysis and found out that 50% of the population in San Mateo County was going to be over 55.
Well, one more time. People staying in their homes as one of the reasons that we have such a such a huge shortage of housing stock, because people are not aging out. They said, they're going to shrink. They're going to get a smaller place. Well, you know what? They can't hang the grandbabies in the closets when they come to visit. So they're not. They may go down from a 2-story house, Bud, down to a 1-story house, but they are staying. If it's a low-maintenance yard or if they can afford a gardener, they are opting to do that, get on a 1 level. Well, how many did I do just the last 2 years where we took them from 2-story houses to 1-story houses? Some did want to go to the condos, and some did want to go to assisted living. Right.
Senior living facilities.
Right.
Yeah.
The senior living facilities. But I have to tell you, they don't all fit into one little tiny square cube. There are lots of little triangles and squiggles and circles. I mean, everybody's got their own set of wants and needs. And so trying to cookie cutter them into one situation is not going to work.
Well, you also have the long-running conversation about the tax issues.
Yes.
And how we had a long conversation about that last week, about how the tax issues are really also making this more difficult because people can't move out. In some cases, can't take the actions they'd like to take because their capital gains taxes can be horrendous. You've talked about it over and over, Bobbi.
Well, not just I, but Ron Ricard, our specialist, and if you go to www.bobbidecker.com and you hit into the archives, the podcast, you'll get Ron's radio programs, and he's excellent at explaining how that can be done. You and I are not the experts, but certainly he's educated us that there's more than one way to get sort of kind of around this. I don't really like the word because it sounds like you're trying to circumvent something, but we're not talking illegal here. We're talking that, you move out. It's
strategy.
You move out the 2 years and then part of it can be
paying 38%
tax deferred exchange
on your gain.
Yeah, exactly.
Duh.
And when you're sitting with him and he is so methodical, you go, wow, why didn't I know about that? More and more people are. My heart's a little happier than it was a year and a half ago because nobody knew about this strategy. And now with the help of Ron and several of the programs, it's starting to get out there.
Yeah, there are ways. You have to look deeply.
Right.
You just can't say, okay, I'm going to go sell my house. You have to look at what the tax hit is going to be. You have to get your forgivenesses in. You have to get your basises in. Can I say that 3 times real fast? Basis is in.
Well, one of the things that concerns me is when you stay in a home that's too big for you and you only use 2 out of the 17 rooms, the other rooms could go to ruin. Do you know what I mean? You could get leaks you don't know about, buddy, and then you've got the upkeep, and then you've got this, and then you've got that, and people go, well, I'll just flag a reverse mortgage on it.
Yeah.
But you're still paying to heat all those rooms, paying the upkeep of all those rooms. So slightly figuring out where you should be, what nest is perfect for you is the way you should go. And we're coming up on another break.
Not now.
Yes, I got to use almost all of this from you. All right, so stay tuned with RE Radio Live. We love bringing this information. I'm sure you can feel it, right?
Right.
All right.
All right.
We'll be back, 1-800-516-1220. We love your questions. So if you've got any, go ahead and dial.
For more information on today's program, visit reradiolive.com. That's reradiolive.com. Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit reradiolive.com. That's reradiolive.com. Again, your hosts for today's edition of Real Estate Radio Live, Bobbi Decker and Buddy Saupé.
And welcome back. Welcome back. We're here covering all of the things that are going on and that have gone on with the radio program over the last couple of years. And you know, buddy, there's a lot of information to digest out there, but the world is a very interesting place.
Well, and as we mentioned, if you stay with us on our podcasts and blogs, you'll get to see even more of that information. The archives for all of the past blogs are right there on the website, so you can keep going back, and listen to or get into any of the blog posts that we've had in the last, two and a half years, probably.
And it's a plethitude. How do you like that word? A plethitude.
Well, you got a big word today.
Yes, of information. And I'll tell you why. We've covered HOA associations, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We have covered, the high-end, luxury. What are people looking for in their backyards? And where in the country do you live that you most appreciate having an outdoor kitchen or a heated pool? Or just a little spa. I mean, they're the really fun things that you can go back and research and come up with answers. Our propositions are very serious.
Very important.
Very important to know, because if you do it incorrectly, you get no do-overs. And you and Joe and I laugh about do-overs, but it's really serious if you do it. Yeah. Because the IRS doesn't give you that second chance to say, okay, come in and modify what you said, and I know you didn't really mean it, but here's your second chance. That doesn't happen. So go to these blogs, and if anything, it gives you the information where you can contact the people who really know. Yeah,
and they're laced with facts. I mean,
laced with facts.
As much as we love to have fun and do occasionally a silly thing or two, the reality of it is there's a lot of fact and serious information that can help people in making very important decisions with one of the most critical assets in their lives, their homes.
And we've been very fortunate to be with Sotheby's and be able to be international, as you would say, and travel around the world and the country and interview all these people and find out so much about all the different areas in the world. You do know everybody thinks that their particular part of the world is the oyster. The pearl and the oyster.
We know ours is here.
Okay, so but while we're talking about the pearls of the world, what are the best baby boomer cities in the U.S. where Social Security is the primary source of the income of the person?
So this was actually part and parcel of one of our blogs. It talks about some research that the Bank of America did, and it made up an affordability index. That index was balanced on how much you can make and how much you can buy when you have information on how much you make. So they picked 5 top cities that would be good if your Social Security plus some additional income were there. Those 5 cities are Memphis, Detroit, Louisville, Oklahoma, and Indianapolis. Now, some of those are a little cold. I'm sure Bobby's going to talk to you about a few things, but the ratio is based on affordability of the properties, and if your family income is near $50,000. This still suggests that Social Security may not be the only source of income that you're going to need to live in these areas, however.
Mm-hmm. I have to tell you that Detroit, people look at that for investment. Just be really careful. There are some internal problems. There are some issues with what's been going on in the last 20 years, 25 years, because I know people want to gentrify cities. Just be careful where you go to gentrify. One city that you should have, it's one of these should have, would have, could have, would have been Redwood City. What if they had a 300, 400% appreciation in their house values, and people go, that's impossible, that couldn't happen. It did, because they were the most undervalued on the peninsula. The schools had terrible reputations because it was the aging population. Buddy, they didn't send kids to school forever. There was a gap when they were actually closing. San Carlos closed their high school only to have such a surge of kids that they didn't know how they were going to cover them all, right? So they were knocking down schools. Now with Redwood City, look at that. That downtown, you and I were amazed the other night. We were down there for a function. We were just fabulous, absolutely fabulous. Now there's where smart money went, and there's some smart money that went there on the peninsula. But you've got to be careful. These cities are cold. The weather is tough. You've got to really want a little snow in your life, dear. So with that, we're going to break, and we'll come back for a slightly longer segment, and you get to talk about what you want to talk about, bud.
All right.
Okay.
I'm good with that.
Stay tuned to RE Radio Live, 1-800-516-1220, or if you're shy, text me at 650-346-5352. We'll be right back.
For more information on today's program, visit reradiolive.com. That's reradiolive.com. Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit reradiolive.com. That's reradiolive.com. Again, your hosts for today's edition of Real Estate Radio Live, Bobbi Decker and Buddy Saupé.
And welcome back. Welcome back. We're going over kind of a synopsis of what we've done over the past 2 years. And Buddy and I were just talking about the cities you could go to with your Social Security check, and it might go way further. They're actually called the best baby boomer cities.
Baby boomers buys.
Baby boomer buys.
Say that 3 times real fast.
Well, I know in California we're very, very spoiled because we've got just beautiful weather, even in the rain. We've got our areas, key points of interest, the under 65, over 65. They all seem to stay more fit than other areas because of the weather. And you have job opportunities here as a senior that you don't have in other parts of the country. And it keeps you interesting. It keeps you informed. And, Buddy, there's even more with regards to U.S. cities. You know, we did that list. Go over the international retirement cities.
Oh, yeah, that was fun. A couple of weeks ago, we did the 12 international best places to retire. Some of the numbers there were just fabulous. I believe it was in Nicaragua where you could buy a beautiful home for $40,000. They welcomed retirees, and there was a big expat community. Now, that was in the Huffington Post information that we had. Go back and take a look at that. Go to www.bobbydecker.com back about 2 weeks ago, and you will find some very fabulous information. Bobbi and I are seriously thinking about going to visit all of them if we can.
And we've gotten some voicemails. We've gotten some texts on that. I mean, people were very interested in knowing how they could become a little more international in their retirement.
Okay, so we're going to move away from retirement. We've got to get you some very important current information. So we're going to take a look at the September report from the California Association of Realtors, and it is home sales expected to edge up slightly in 2017, while prices slowest gain in 6 years.
It's called price fatigue.
Price fatigue.
Buyer fatigue. You know, people are seeing their neighbors close out at maybe $1.2 million, and they go, well, hey, I like my house better than their house, so we'll put ours on at $1.4 million. Well, they're sitting. They are definitely sitting. They may.
You've been watching it. You've had some first-hand experience too.
The high end, over $3 million, that's the high end here, is seeing substantial price reductions in many areas. And I see it coming out in my emails, and I'll get flashes on the text, and I'll just say, you know, this is dropping, that's dropping. Marin, Tiburon, Sausalito. They're gorgeous, gorgeous properties, but they don't have the people pushing those prices, buddy. You know, you and I both know that the Asian market money has pretty much... It's dried up in residential compared. People will be texting me and saying, no. But compared to 2 years ago or even a year ago, and then they're leaving it out there to buy commercial properties. They're still huge players in commercial. Then you've got your IPOs that have not been taking place. And when you don't have a lot of IPOs, you don't feel as flush in Silicon Valley.
Well, that market's picking up, though. That may have some changes.
Wouldn't that, you never can predict. No. Never. And then, of course, your $1 million to $3 million is still, it's pretty steady. If somebody comes out 500,000 too high, there'll be an adjustment. But that's a pretty steady
when
market.
It's priced right.
Because we've got low inventory. Here we go again. Ocean on one side, bay on the other side. Protected land in the middle. So you've got low inventory. That's all I can say.
Well, but you've had some experience with the under $1 million recently, too, that would seem to be an area that always should be buoyed, and that's even taken a little quieter approach recently.
And I'll tell you why, because they're not hiring like they were. Okay, the Gileads, the Visas, they've taken a little bit of a breather. And then, of course, the people who did hire, there were several companies hiring the English, you know, and PlayStation, Sony engineers, that type of thing. But what happened was they came over here and Brexit happened. And their pound took a pounding.
Yes.
Hey,
no pun intended.
I'm making up a rhyme. So as the pound fell, they lost their ability to buy. And they are leasing. Many of them are leasing. Now, when I say these things, this is a general overview, guys. We can go one-on-one with a certain area, but this is kind of a hiccup or an overview of Silicon Valley. And so when they're not hiring, they're taking a breather. You know what's that all about, buddy? That's all about the presidential election. They're waiting to see who's going to get into office and if they're going to be business friendly or not. That's why all the hiring is in a little bit of a stall.
Okay.
All right.
I'll buy that. The bottom line for this report actually is pretty simple, though. Resales as a percentage of change in 2016 were off a little bit, 6.4% in our lovely state of California. And next year they're expected to drop a little bit more, 5.6%. The median price point is still going to go up, as I mentioned earlier. In 2016, they're forecasting that it'll be about $780,000 as the median price point, and next year $830-ish will be the median price point. And the percentage of change then is 6.2 plus 6.2 or plus 6.4. So we're still going to see an increase, but not the craziness that we've seen here recently.
No, and we need to take a breather. You don't go up forever, and hopefully you don't go down forever because you crash. But in this particular case, buddy, you still have the restricted inventory. They are building more condos. I mean, gosh, you and I saw all of the apartments that were going on in the Redwood City area and up and down the peninsula. People finally had the money to go ahead and build. And this is just very much what's going to be happening.
Yeah, so we're really eager to have you stay with us in our blogs and our podcasts because this, as we've mentioned, is our last live program on the Wall Street Business Network. So please write down the website, www.bobbydecker.com, or email Bobbi or myself. Bobbi is Bobbi at BobbyDecker.com, and Buddy is Bobbi at Buddy is Buddy at BobbiDecker.com. I'll get it.
You can get it in the next segment. We can clean that up so that they've got a good place to get you at. So we will be back for our final segment. And do stay with us. RE Radio Live, 1-800-516-1220. Or text me 650-346-5352. And thanks for listening in.
For more information on today's program, visit reradiolive.com. That's reradiolive.com. Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit reradiolive.com. That's reradiolive.com. Again, your hosts for today's edition of Real Estate Radio Live, Bobbi Decker and Buddy Saupé.
And welcome back to the final segment of RE Radio Live. But it's just buzzed by again, another Friday afternoon, 1 hour. It goes by like 10 minutes.
Yeah, we got to get on some stuff. I've got some news.
Absolutely, but I want to say thank you for listening in to us because our goal is to educate and inform you, and you've been a terrific audience.
They have been. And I have to tell you, this is our last live show. There will be a senior Living Longer, Living Better on the 4th of November because we won't be here.
That's right.
Actually, something that you guys out there helped Bobbi to achieve.
Yes, you did. Thank you.
There's some more big news. Bobbi will be honored with an Outstanding Service Award from the National Association of Realtors. This is a national award for all of the things that she's done in the way of active, not only media, but her personal commitments and commitments of money and time to lots of different organizations. So that's very big news, and this is a wonderful honor. A lot of it comes, frankly, from you guys. So listening to our Living Longer, Living Better radio segment, our podcast to those programs, the 5-year running television series with the same name, her Senior Spotlight blog, and many of the senior clients that she's helped so successfully really helped, I think, in providing information to the people that looked at this nomination and selected her out of 13,000 other members of the Seniors Real Estate Specialist program that the National Association of Realtors put on. So thank you, our hearty thank you for Bobbi and all of the outcomes that have come from a wonderful audience that so interested in the information that we provided. Thank you, thank you.
Absolutely, thank you, because without you supporting it, it would have gone unnoticed. And, you know, we've had the Lustigs, we've had so many, Fred, all the people who have come in and talked about, you know, they may be chronologically getting in years, but in their hearts and in their heads, they're just as young as ever. And I want to do one special shout-out to the littlest audience member ever, and that's Sophia. Thank you for listening in, little one. You're only 5, but wait till you see how fast you can get to 90.
Yes. So we're not going away. Tune into our podcast. Get to our blogs, www.bobbidecker.com. We want to stay with you. We want you to stay with us.
Absolutely. We've had wonderful. I get back to our guests. And to Joe, and to you. I mean, everyone does their homework. Everyone comes on trying to make you the most informed and educated listeners ever. So thanks. Remember, go to our blogs, www.bobbidecker.com. Drop us a text, drop us a line, and we'll get back to you.
Where can she get you on the phone? Where can they get you on the phone, Bob?
650-346-5352. And again, thank you for listening in to RE Radio Live. You have made it a fun journey.
Stay with us as the move to the web.
Thanks.
You've been listening to Real Estate Radio Live. For more information on today's program, visit reradiolive.com. That's reradiolive.com. Tune in, Log in, download our podcast, discover more at RERadiolive.com. RERadiolive.com.